What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight. Oh boy, what a mouthful. Okay, making their debut on the channel tonight. We have the Danish National Symphony Orchestra. Yes, indeed. How about that? The Danish National Symphony Orchestra making their debut on the channel. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbidi-bobbidi-bob, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Brett Parks, and this is actually one of Brett's 3 prioritized requests for the month of February for being a gold tier member on the Patreon page. So here you go, Brett. Hope you enjoy the show, man. Brett wanted to see me react to this. It is the Danish National Symphony Orchestra performing a musical piece from the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
What? The what? And the what?
Now, have I heard the song before? Full disclosure, okay. Yes, I'm sure I have. I have seen the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly many times. One of my favorite Westerns, if I'm being honest. It's a great Western movie. I know a lot of people have said that it's one of Clint Eastwood's best movies. I would not disagree with that. I actually would agree with them. I think it's one of his best. I don't think it's the best, but it's definitely one of his best Westerns. So yeah, I personally, I like High Plains Drifter just a little bit more. I know, sacrilege! I know, I can hear the people right now calling for the torches and the pitchforks, but I like High Plains Drifter just a little bit more than this movie. But nonetheless, still a great movie. One of the best Westerns ever made. So yes, I am familiar with the musical score to this movie. Now, having said that, I have not heard the Danish National Symphony Orchestra perform it, and I don't know what they're doing with the arrangement of this. It's I don't know if they're playing the score exactly note for note, exactly like it appears in the movie, or if they're doing some sort of a medley. But I can't imagine them doing the entire score because we'd be here forever if we did that. So I'm sure it's a selection of pieces, but I don't know the order that it's in. I don't know the arrangement. I have no idea what is going to happen here, other than the fact that the music itself comes from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So we're definitely going to be having enough to react to here. So we're going to go with it. Let's see. This was posted by Dr. Concert Huset. What? Dr. Concert Huset. Yeah. Take that for what it's worth. And the video has 128 million views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, the Danish National Symphony Orchestra live. So this is in a live setting. That makes it even more interesting. Performed by the Danish National Symphony Orchestra, Danish National Concert Choir. Oh, so there's a choir too. That's good. I was kind of hoping for that. There's a soprano. I know the part they need the soprano for. Conducted by Sarah Hicks. Cool. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
Okay. with an ocarina. Interesting. They got the guy hanging. That was great. I'm surprised how, okay, not from a notational standpoint, but from a voicing standpoint, how accurate this is to the original soundtrack. Like it sounds dead on to me. In particular, the most impressive thing to me right now is the choir, the voicings within the choir, how accurate they are to what's happening here as compared to what happens in the original soundtrack. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised by that. It sounds great across the board. Everybody sounds like they're doing a fine job. I love the trade-off in the lead-off line between the trumpet players. Really nice. You had the one trumpet player take the first line, then the trumpet player next to him took the second line, trumpet player next to him took the third line. We came back around. I think there might be just 3 trumpets. Well, maybe there's 4. I don't know. It looked like the first guy was going to take over again, but the camera panned away before we could actually see him do it. So maybe I'm wrong about that. There might be 4, but I love the trade-off so that every trumpet player was able to do exactly like it does in the original soundtrack, where you had the first trumpet player finishing, and just as he was about to finish, the second one came in and took over. And there was that brief, like, half second where they crossed over each other. That was really well done. Really well done. Let's keep going here. Can't get over that. The hanging body there. That's great. My favorite part. interesting that they have the soprano away from everybody else. It's really interesting approach to give it. Now this has nothing to do with the song or the balance or the mix or anything like that. This is just from a experience within the theater, within the concert theater itself. Kind of giving the audience that, I guess the best way is to say it, is a natural surround sound type of feel where you have what's the word I'm looking for? Basically a full rounded all around sound. Where if you're sitting dead center, right behind the conductor, you can be completely surrounded by everything that's happening, whether it be the choir positioned way up high on stage left in the back. You have the soprano who is probably, I mean, it would make sense if I'm thinking about this. It would make sense to have her where she is, off to the right of the listener, so far past stage left, maybe a little in front of the stage too. But to give it that all around, that's the word I'm looking for, enveloping sound. So it's an interesting placement. I know a lot of people are probably a little confused. Why isn't the soprano just on the stage with all the rest of the performers? Because they want to give it more of a surrounding feel. Not like a surround sound like we are used to with, like, you know, stereo speakers and like home theater stuff like that, but more of a encompassing and enveloping sense. You have to be there. You have to actually be in the crowd to really get the full effect of that type of a deal where they're placing a single performer away from the stage. I promise you, it does not translate well to video. But if you're actually there, because I've been in performances where they've done things like that, and they've had other performers way up in the balcony on the left side and way up in the balconies on the right side too. Not even behind the stage, but in front of the stage. And it really does give the listeners, the audience members, it gives them that sense of being fully enveloped within the sound. It's a really cool thing to experience live, like when you're actually there. It's really cool to experience something like that. So I get it. I absolutely get it. I'm just trying to explain it to people who have never seen that before or have ever experienced that before. I'm trying to give them a sense of what that does. And that's what I was looking for. Enveloping and encompassing. So anyway, let's keep going here. Oh, interesting. Okay. So she's actually I'm surprised it didn't end with that. Huh. Really well done. Really well done. Nice arrangement. Well executed, well performed. Yeah, I got no problems with this at all. Very entertaining to listen to and even more entertaining to watch. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was the Danish National Symphony Orchestra performing their arrangement of selections from the musical soundtrack of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This was a request from Brett Parks, and this was actually one of Brett's 3 prioritized requests for the month of February for being a gold tier member on the Patreon page. So there you go, Brett. Hope you enjoyed the show, man. Okay, so before I give my score, I just need to reiterate this just to make sure that I'm being perfectly, open and transparent with everybody. I have heard the original score from this movie before. I've seen this movie several times. It's one of my favorite Westerns, actually, believe it or not. Not my absolute favorite, but it's definitely up there. I know a lot of people say this is the greatest movie that Clint Eastwood ever made or was ever a part of. I could see the argument. I'm not going to disagree with it, as far as they're out of their minds or anything like that. No, I absolutely see the people's point of view on that. And I'm not disagreeing with it. Just me personally, not my favorite, but one of the greatest ever made? Yeah, absolutely, without question. But I am pretty familiar with it. I don't know the whole score by heart, but I know the score well enough that I recognized everything I heard. So I'm not basing my evaluation of my score on the song itself or the arrangement. I'm basing my score completely on the performance of this piece and the orchestration, how well they played the song in the live setting, and a couple of other factors, which we will talk about, I promise. But I just want to be clear that I've heard this before. Yes, I absolutely have. Now, having said that, out of a possible 5 stars, I'm going to give that performance 4 stars. Yep, 4 out of 5 stars. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Despite the fact that I've heard this performance, well, I've never heard this particular performance, but I've heard this song before watching the movie as many times as I've watched the movie. I gotta say, they did a bang-up job. They really did. I mean, they made it sound almost exactly like it did on the original movie. All the voicings were there. In particular, the thing that really kind of impressed me was the choir. Don't get me wrong, everybody in the orchestra sounded great, okay? String sections sounded fantastic. All of the string sections, the violins, violas, the cellos, the uprights, the contrabasses, they all sounded just fine. The brass, I wanted to talk about the brass a little later, but since we're here, why not? The brass showing some great restraint. I cannot tell you how tempting it is to play brassy. And for those of you guys that play brass instruments, trumpet players, trombone players, tuba players, French players, you know what I'm talking about. It's very easy and very tempting in a song this to get a little brassy at times because you're hitting those apexes, right? These guys showed great restraint. It almost sounded like they were playing with mutes. It almost did. But I was watching them. I didn't see any mutes, but it sounded like they were. That is showing some great restraint from a dynamic standpoint. They blended with the strings really well at times where it almost sounded like one voicing. Very well done. So I got to give a shout out to the brass section. Percussion section sounded really good. Guitar and bass sounded really nice. Playing very accurately, playing exactly how they needed to play. But really, the stars of the show to me were the vocalists. The choir really hitting those voicings, hitting those accents the way that they were doing. Perfectly placed, too. Really nice job on their part. The one female vocalist in the orchestra, or actually, it looked like she was actually in the orchestra. It did not look like she was up in the choir. It looked to me like she was actually in the orchestra doing the vocalization along with the harmonica. Really nice, very nice touch from her part. Very great, very clean execution. And then the soprano. off. Now, I was wondering where she was, and they finally, zoomed out, and we were able to see where she was in placement. She was above and to the left of the choir, but she wasn't in front of the stage. She was still behind stage end, so she was still technically up there with the choir, but offset. I talked about having that enveloping experience, that all-encompassing experience. It does not translate to video. I don't think there's any way to make that happen. I really don't see how that could ever be done to translate that full experience into a video. I just never see that happening. But if you're ever in the crowd and you have a performance where you have performers on the stage, off to the left, stage left, and off to the stage right, up in the balconies or even behind you, it gives you that feeling of you're in the middle of it. And I know that sounds literally you are, and I know that sounds literal, and it is literal, because you're going to be surrounded by performers giving you an all surrounding sound. It's interesting. It's if you ever have the opportunity to go and see a performance, whether it be a classical performance or a Broadway show or something like that, where you have that happening, I highly recommend you do it, because it's like nothing you've ever seen or heard before. It's really, really cool. It's like it's surround sound before the invention of surround sound. It's actually really nice. But like I said, you're never going to capture it on a video. It's just never going to happen. But it was really cool to see it. It was really cool to see them doing it. No, very well done, very well executed. I think they did a great job overall, and that's why I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I feel good about that rating, and that's where we're going to stay. So, 4 out of 5 stars, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, then I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.